Have you ever been stuck in a conversation or meeting where it's all post-mortem? When you're going back and looking over a project or action or a major mishap, and everyone is pointing fingers, dodging blame, or if they very clearly weren't part of it, nodding their heads and saying, I told you so. And nothing productive is getting done. You're just stuck in this endless loop of digging apart the dead body of what went wrong. Hi, my name is Ria, and I am the founder of Hope Forge. And today I'm here to give you one particular hack that is about how to redirect conversations that are just beyond navel gazing in a business perspective, in a business context, and get them into a more productive space and redirect everyone into a much more productive, positive, and future forward mindset. This tip actually comes all the way from Aristotle, who said there are actually three kinds of arguments that exist. The first is there is the blame argument, which I think all of us have experienced many times in our lives. The second is the values argument, where it reflects on what we think of as good and bad. And the third is choice. So these are the three kinds of arguments that Aristotle believed existed. And he actually believed that they were very closely linked to the tenses. And by tense, I mean past, present, or future. So no, I'm not talking about the ghosts of Christmas past, present, or future, although there is a little bit of overlap when you look at the when you look at the themes. The past, when we have past driven and focused conversations and discussions, they are almost always blame focused and motivated. The fuel on the fire is who did what, why, and the responsibility belongs to whom, right? The number of times where you come into a conversation and you're looking back at a thing instead of looking forward and saying, well, what can we do to make this better? You spend minutes. I mean, I personally have been stuck in conversations and meetings where it has been hours of stupidity. And I do say stupidity where, yes, it sort of helps you vent your emotions. But first, that's not what the workplace is really about, to spend that much time just kvetching on the negative without turning towards what we can do about things. But also, it tends to get people into these negative psychological feedback loops where people become more helpless in their thoughts, more negative, and more passive. So you don't want to sit in that past focused blame kind of conversation or argument. So that's the first kind. The second kind is value. When we are in the present tense and we're speaking, this is very explicitly speaking. When we speak in the present tense about any kind of topic, any project, any work thing that we are really focusing on, it is almost always value driven. We are looking at it in a way where we question, what does this mean to us? What are the values associated? What is our vision for this? We're so tethered to the now that often what ends up happening is if someone has a problem or a concern, and I have mentioned this in another of my videos, it ends up being taken as an attack upon not just the ideas or conversation that's being had, but on one of the or many of the people who are in the conversation. So the present tense is value. The future tense is where we have incredibly powerful workplace communications that become possible, because that tense is associated with choice. And so what you want to do when you are in one of these conversations where it's either the blame game or it is value-driven navel gazing, you want to very intentionally and mindfully use the future tense with every sentence that you say. So instead of saying things like, it was like this, because you're going to be driving back into blame, you instead want to start projecting into the future. And even though it might take a bit for the people who you are speaking with to get on board, because they will be very caught up in the emotions and the mentality of these other kinds of arguments, the more you future frame your thoughts, your conversations, the more you're going to be able to drive the conversation in the direction of productive choice recognition and decision making. So that's my tip for today. When people get stuck in a rut in the middle of a meeting or conversation, try future framing.